Well, good morning everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. Hey, today I want to get on here and go over a few tips and discoveries, I guess, that I've made on the Tacoma. Some things that I think are pretty darn useful if you're going to do any kind of modding or just day-to-day things that could become important if you need them. At the end, we'll have a little gas cap revelation and something about your spare tire. Before I get started though, I noticed when I put the garage door up here how awesome the Tundra looks. Recently I had put, and it's dirty, granted, but I had put some wheel spacers on there, and check out how much poke I have on those wheels right now. I know there's a pole in the way, but that kind of helps make it stand out a little bit. I think it looks awesome. Anyway, I was admiring the Tundra out there. Let's go ahead and get set up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, the first one is have the right tools, and specifically, and I'm not going to dwell on this because I've mentioned it before, but it is so important. Let's take a walk over here, pop this little tool chest open. Trim tools. Got lots of trim tools. Get yourself some trim tools. If you don't want to scratch up the interior of your truck or any part of your truck where you're going to be against a surface that can scratch, get yourself some trim tools. These things are awesome. Okay, this next little tip I actually stumbled on. It just kind of dawned on me while I was doing a mod. And that mod was replacing the muffler system, which I've done a few times on various trucks, but on this Tacoma here. And that is something to spray in here to lube up these posts a little bit, to remove the grommets, to get the exhaust off. You know, I used to use WD-40. Now, the problem with WD-40 is you're underneath here and you're trying to get that thing off, and you've sprayed WD-40 all over it, and you have to get it inside the crevices here, right? Up against these rods, and it drips. You're underneath here and you've got WD-40 dripping all over you, and that's drag. And I got to thinking, why am I using WD-40? I have this little concoction here that I had made up, and it's not Simple Green, that's just the bottle. It's just water and dishwashing detergent, dishwashing soap. You just put a couple, 3 drops or so in here in a full container, little spray bottle you guys can see. And then you can spray it all over the place, like up here, and it will give you the lube that you need to be able to scoot these things back and forth to get them off. That's just one example. You can use it on anything that you would need to lube up a little bit because you're trying to pry something off. Obviously nothing electrical, but hopefully you wouldn't use WD-40 on electrical either. The other thing that I do with this stuff, and it's just awesome, is clean my windows. You know, I don't use Windex or any of the expensive things you can buy out there that they claim are supposed to be great to clean your windows. I have this concoction. And the good thing about it, if you have tinted windows and you have film on your windows and you had them done at a good shop, then they should have told you never to use anything with ammonia in it, which most of the cleaners that you get has. The reason being, ammonia will degrade or eat your tint on your windows. So what you do is you get yourself some dishwashing soap that is ammonia free, there's a ton of it out there, and you use that. So this can be used for both lube type jobs or anything that you're trying to lube up so that you can scooch things off, like this grommet for example, and cleaning your windows. It's a double threat. Okay, next up, and it's these two things behind me right here, and you're right, they're lights. They're kind of flashlights. Well, not really the traditional flashlight, but they're portable lights. And the good thing about these is they are magnetic based. That means when you're in a tight area that you need a little bit of light, and nothing makes a mod easier than being able to see what you're doing. You just stick these things against metal. This one even has a hook on it, on the back here, which I've mangled a little bit, so that you can hang it if you don't have anything magnetic around. And the example I'll give you, back here again to these grommets underneath the truck on the exhaust. And fortunately for me, I have more light right now in here because I have a lift and it's up in the air, but I didn't always have a lift. So I'd be crawling around underneath the truck. It's dark, I can't see what I'm doing. trying to spray stuff on these grommets, and it's a mess. So you guys can see right now, obviously, the grommet that's up there. We just take this light, and in this case, just stick it right here against the floorboard of the truck, and you can see what it looks like now, right? Let's turn that light on. How much better is that? And it's just hanging here, sorry to blind you, it's just hanging there, and you can see, in this case, where you need to spray your lubricant so that you can pull these things off. You can also see if there's a little drip right here, as you're lying underneath here, right, just like this, and that little drop is about to fall right in your face. A very handy tool to have. Oh, and one more thing, they're very easy to store. Out of the way and ready for next time. Next up is double-sided tape. Double-sided tape has come so far today, it's amazing how strong it is. There are all kinds of applications for it. The couple that I have used, and let me show you, they're right here behind me. This is just a 3M double-sided tape. One is black, one is clear. So depending on what the application is and whether you want the tape to be seen or not, pick which one you want to use. But they both do an excellent job, and like I say, they hold everything. I have used these underneath the hood up there to mount the drivers for the LED lights. You mount your lights in there, put a little double-sided tape on the back of the driver, and just stick it up against the wall or something, the wall inside the truck. It works perfectly. Another great use I had for it was the front-facing camera that I put on the Tacoma and on the Tundra here. You guys can see right there, that's a front-facing camera on here. It's been on there for quite a while, and it isn't going anywhere. Sticks up there really well. I don't have to drill holes in anything, and it's never going to go anywhere. And if you ever want to take it off, you just pull it off. It's that simple. Double-sided tape is a must. Many applications for this. If you're trying to put your emblems back on, or maybe you want to take them on to black them out or something, double-sided tape is how you put them back on. This stuff is awesome. All right, next up is a magnetic base screwdriver. There's nothing worse than taking some little screw out of something in your truck and losing it, or having it drop and fall in the motor somewhere, and then you're going to spend a half an hour trying to find it. That makes doing mods very frustrating. Magnetic base screwdrivers are a must-have in my opinion. You've got your screw, you've taken it out, you grab it with the screwdriver, or better yet, you've removed it and it just stays on the screwdriver. Gotta have one of these. In addition to that, let's say you do drop the thing. And of course, when you drop a screw, you know, these little things, they end up somewhere that you can't reach. So then you try to create something to be able to get it out, you know, a long stick with some tape on the end of it, you know, you can make it stick. Usually doesn't work when the screw you're trying to get is oily or dirty, right? I happen to have, and this is a flashlight, but it's extendable and it has a magnet on the bottom of it. So you pull it out and you can stick this thing pretty much anywhere you want. I mean, you see how big this thing is. It'll go anywhere you want to pull something out. So you've got your screw, it's laying somewhere. You just grab on like so and pull it off. Pretty simple. Just a very easy, simple little thing to have to make mods less frustrating should things happen that you don't want to happen. And if you've done any mods, you know it happens. You're always going to drop a little screw somewhere. So make yourself, make your life rather, a little easier. Invest in some sort of a magnetic extension and a magnetic base screwdriver. Okay, next up, little tip for you on making your tires look pretty. I mean, look at how shiny these tires are back here. And this is just sitting in the garage, right? I'm not outside in the bright sunlight, but look at them. They look awesome, right? Now, there's a simple way to do this. You can see it sitting back there behind me. And that is Armor All. The only place I use Armor All is outside the truck on my tires. And the reason I do that, and you'll know this if you've ever used Armor All, it looks great for about the first day, maybe two, and then it collects dust. Armor All is kind of an oily, greasy material, and dust always attracts to it on the inside of the truck. Plus it always feels kind of kind of slimy or greasy, at least in my experience. But nothing beats Armor All in shining up your tires on the outside of the truck. Now, what I use is just a simple waxing pad, and you can see it's been used a few times on these tires. I spray a little bit on half, you know, see if I can show you here, on the top edge, let's say, or right across here, you can see where it's dirtier. I rub that around the wheel, or the tire rather, and that's it. Now, the one thing you want to make sure you don't do is put it on too thick, because obviously your wheel spins, and if you have it on there too thick, it's going to throw Armor All behind it, right? And that's going to end up on your paint. I've seen that happen, not just with Armor All, but with other tire dressings that people have used. Okay, here's another tip for you. Most of us, because it's pretty much all you can get anymore unless you use an old t-shirt, use microfiber towels, either to wax your truck and wipe the wax off, or dry it off, or clean water spots off, or whatever. Make sure that if you wash these, or if your significant other washes these, they don't use fabric softener. I mean, you don't need fabric softener on these anyway, right? I mean, are you trying to keep your hands nice and soft while you're using? I don't know why you would need it. And the reason is, fabric softener is like a bunch of little crystals that are embedded in whatever it is that you use in the washing machine. Those tiny little crystals are like little abrasive stones. They will scratch plastic. I have a couple of examples. One, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see, probably not, but the glasses that I'm wearing have scratches all over them. Why? Because I cleaned them with microfiber towels that were washed with fabric softener. And I have seen in the past, you know, you get in the truck, especially on used trucks, and you look at the gauge cluster glass, or the gauge cluster cover or plastic, and it's got a bunch of little micro scratches in it. You can pick them up really well in bright sunshine, right? The sun shines in on the dash. You can see all these little micro scratches all over the place. And that's because whoever cleaned it either wiped all the dust and crap off their dash, got some grit in their towel, and then sanded, in essence, their gauge cluster cover, or they used towels that were washed and treated with fabric softener. Fabric softener is your enemy if you're concerned about scratching any surface. This next one is more of a, did you realize this? Or, oh my God, I never realized this kind of a moment. I have mentioned this before in other videos, but again, I keep seeing posts out there of people either asking, what do they do, or what do you do with your dangling gas cap, right? You got your gas cap here, you're at the gas station, you're trying to keep your truck all nice and pretty, but you got this gas cap laying here. It's dangling. It's hanging all over your paint. Who wants that? So they'll go out and they'll get things that go inside here, hooks or whatever, but you already have one. It's right here. You see this? You see this little bend in the holder for the gas cap? If you take this and just put it right up here and stretch it just a hair, look at that. It's not touching your paint. Isn't that amazing? All right, we have reached the end. I have one more little tip for you. Really something to make you aware, I guess, because I don't think about this a lot myself. But has this ever happened to you? Have you ever had a flat tire, pulled over on the side of the road, you got all your stuff out, you've jacked the truck up, or hopefully lowered the spare tire first, to discover it doesn't have any air in it? You know, just like the other tires on your truck, the spare tire, of course, and mine feels a little low right now itself, can go flat. So every once in a while, and I know it's a pain because of course they don't mount it with the air nozzle down here on the bottom, right? You've got to actually lower the spare tire down a bit before you can get to the filler nozzle there and check the pressure in your tire. But I gotta tell you, it is well worth it, because there'd be nothing worse than being out there, getting everything ready, lowering your spare tire, and realizing you can't use it because it's flat. Just something to think about, something to maybe check once a month, once in a while. I admit I'm guilty of not doing that myself, but I need to be better about it. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here, go over a few tips and a few things about the Tacoma that you may not have realized. It might make your life a little bit easier, especially if you're into modding, or maybe you're a budding modder and trying to figure out what you need to do the job. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of these ideas. Have you discovered anything else? Anything else that's pretty important? The simple things. As usual, appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on the web. Have a great day. Bye.